Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the latest episode of the Financial Pro podcast. Today, I am interviewing a mortgage industry legend who used to be a finalist on The Voice back in 2019. For those of you over the pond, The Voice is the UK show, singing show, talent show extraordinaire, and made the final of that show. Founder and managing director of The Mortgage Mum, which is a brokerage firm made up of 25 women and mums across the entire UK. The happily married mother of 2 young children, carving out a brand and new path for women in the financial services. The amazing, the wonderful Sarah Tucker. How you doing, my love?
I'm good, thank you. What a lovely intro. That's very nice. Thank you. I'm really good. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Had my coffee, so I'm bouncing around this morning. Yeah, it's always good. It's this new stand-up desk as well, which the people on the podcast won't know. Game changer.
I know. I remember this from interviewing you a few weeks ago, and I was thinking that's quite good because you can get yourself motivated and G'd up while you're standing.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a little bit more energy that comes across with us this morning. But I hope my little intro did you some justice. But would you like to add anything more to what I said as a bit of a background to Miss Tucker?
Tucker? Yeah, sure. I created The Mortgage Mum during The Voice, and The Voice was a long time coming, a really long time coming, which I'm sure we'll talk about today. And the reason I created it is because my story was very unique in the sense that I had somebody that took me into the industry and took me under their wing. And I was very clear that I was a mum and I had another job and I had children, but I wanted to do mortgage break on the side. Little did I know that's not really possible for a long period of time. But certainly I was very lucky, but it became very clear to me that that is not the norm. And actually there was lots of women just like me out there who would love this job and would love the flexibility and would love helping people. So pardon the pun, but The Voice gave me a voice that people listened to my ideas for a little while. And so, that's when I set The Mortgage Mum up. So it's all intertwined, the singing and the mortgages.
Love
an unlikely combination, but it is.
Yeah, no, love that without a shadow of a doubt. And we'll get into that. That's a flavor of what's to come, listeners, flavor of what's to come up. Because what I always like to start with is, you were singing before, you were in the Voice, and then the mortgages kicked off from there. But what were you doing before the Voice? What was kind of led you to get onto the Voice, and what was your jobs previously?
So I first found out I could sing when I was 17. I always struggled with confidence at school. I'd love to go back to school now and have a little bit more about me, a little bit more confidence in who I was the whole time. But I certainly didn't have it through school. And around 17, a music teacher heard me sing and said, "Oh, you should do this show." And what was the Pop Idol had just come on TV. And I loved it. As soon as I watched it, I got a flutter in my tummy. That signal, I think, that we all get when you like something and you think, "Oh, there's something about that's resonating with me." And I just was obsessed with this idea that would make me happy. And I think deeper than that would make me liked, that would make me popular. And I loved to sing. And I just thought, how amazing would it be if I had the confidence to sing in front of Simon Cowell and, get on TV with my singing. So that became kind of a thing in my head that I just wanted to achieve and I just couldn't let it go. So, I was working in various jobs, travel agent, recruitment consultant, mortgage admin. And then I was always doing these X Factor auditions on the side or local competitions on the side with my singing. Very nervously, I might add. I used to be sick every single time I sang. So it was a real challenge for me to put myself out there. No. A few close calls though. Honestly, I used to think that surely this isn't normal. And of course it isn't normal, but that's how scared I was to put myself out there. And then fast forward to the credit crunch, I was a mortgage administrator at the time. I had my own team and I just, lost my job overnight basically. And had a decision then to make as to whether I stayed with mortgages or not. And I chose not to at that time, went to London for 10 years, still trying out my singing, managed to get on X Factor, never got played on TV. So had so many ups and downs with the singing and also just trying to find a career that lit me up. And I didn't really find it up to that point. how I got into mortgages is because of Britain's Got Talent. I had an audition with them. I knew the producers a bit more by then. They'd seen me from X Factor previously, and they'd promised me again, you're going to get in front of the coaches on Monday, and we want you to sing. Can you get T-shirts made like you did before? And all of this stuff, all of these promises. And they called me on with a Friday and said, Sarah, really sorry. We've just got a few more people than we thought. We can't audition you Monday. And I thought, wow, I just can't do this anymore. I cannot keep putting myself out there, getting knocked back, getting made promises they don't get kept. And I sat at my desk and thought, I had a daughter by then, and I thought, right, I can't keep doing this, because this is going to affect her soon. And actually, I need to think about what I want life with her to look like. And mortgages just popped in my head. I loved the industry when I worked in it before. I found it super interesting. I bought my own place. And I just had this vision of, maybe I could be a mortgage broker and pick up my kids. And I could work from home. And I could be self-employed, actually. And that's what I'm going to work towards from today. So I Googled, how do I become a mortgage broker? And the LIBF came up, CMAP qualification. I thought, okay, that looks pretty good. It was about £800 with a local course. And I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to become a mortgage broker. I'm going to get my CMAP. So I got my CMAP in 6 months, which I was really proud of at the time. But now I see a lot of women do it a lot quicker, and there's lots of routes that you can take. But I just did it on the train, in my lunch hour, in the evenings when my daughter napped. And and eventually got qualified, and then found out the hard part, which is what I'm here for now, is what do you do? You're CMAP qualified. Okay, now what do I do? Google did not have the answers to that one. And I tried to find out, and I just struggled. There wasn't any clear direction as to what you even do. Do you go into a network? How do I work now? I'm qualified. But I was lucky to find somebody that I used to work with. I used to be his administrator on Facebook, and just said, any chance you want to take me under your wing? And he did. So I was lucky. I was one of the lucky few. He took me under his wing, and I became a mortgage broker on the side initially, while still thinking about singing a little bit, but that kept me busy. And then, fast forward, I'm going way back now, but fast forward to when I had my son Joshua, and I made the leap to go self-employed fully. I'd built a reputation by then. And and I went self-employed. Sadly, after having Josh, or actually it was a blessing in disguise, I got postnatal depression, which I always wanted to be a mum. That's all I ever wanted, really. And once I was so happy. But then when I had Josh, I just didn't understand what was going on. I think I was a bit burnt out looking back. I was trying to get a six-pack before having him. I was doing mortgage broking on the side of my London job. I was trying to sing, trying to do my London PA job without them noticing that I was doing mortgages. And I think I just burnt out, quite simply. And it came in the form of that. So I then learned self-care, and I learned the value of, putting time out for yourself, working out what my values were. I'd never done anything like that. What are my values? I don't even know. I don't even know what a value is. So I took it all back to basics. Right when underneath all of that crap was my singing, still sitting there waiting to be nurtured and paid attention to. So I picked it back up again and thought, all right, I'll give it one more try. And I applied for The Voice, and I applied for X Factor again. And X Factor let me down again, but The Voice didn't let me down, and they pulled me through right to the blind audition. So I finally, 16 years later, got that moment that I was waiting for all those years. And obviously I was by then a mortgage broker. So I took the mortgages with me, if that makes sense, and made it a moment in both without really meaning to. And here I am now. The mortgage mum was set up.
What a journey. What a story, what a journey. Where the hell do I start? There's loads of things to pick into. Now,
I know. And I'm like trying to be really brief as well. Worryingly.
So just to give me a little bit of timeline to this, first of all, then. So you first got into mortgages as an employee underneath someone else's wing. What year roughly?
Under someone else's wing, self-employed. So that was 2015.
2015. And you were doing mortgages prior to that. After you didn't do it immediately after the credit crunch, did you? But you did it.
I did it before the credit crunch for 3 years as
Okay.
an administrator. So I learned on the job from the brokers, but those were the days of self-cert mortgages and 100% loan to value and 110% loan to value. So being a broker didn't look that difficult then. It's very different now, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing I wanted to reference was that whole, I call it the good old days, the golden years where you could have, 25% deposit, you didn't need any proof of income or anything at all. It was, I was always ethical back in those days. It was, I want to make sure my clients, could afford the mortgage where so many didn't.
Yeah.
Sign this piece of paper, you can have £500,000, but you only earn 10 grand a year. Don't worry about it. It's like, that was never my bag, but it was more about relationships. Whereas now it's more about paperwork. And that's the tricky thing.
Yeah, that's right. And criteria and, there's just so much more to it, isn't there?
So you came in just after a mortgage market review, the MMR in 2014. So you've been doing it since 2015. Yeah. Then that was underneath someone else's wing. And then you went self-employed as the mortgage mum. When was that the next step?
So I went self-employed. I was always self-employed. Yeah. So I'm missing out a big bit, aren't I, where I went to Affinity. So yeah, after having Joshua, I didn't have administration support where I was. It was just a one-man band and he was great, but I just realised there was more support out there. So in terms of protection being done for you, in terms of administration. And so I joined Affinity and really a big defining moment in the journey, because that's when I got back in touch with Jamie, who's now my business partner in the Mortgage Mum. So I believe in gut feelings. I'm a really strong believer in that. And that was a gut feeling thing that just washed over me. I kept seeing Affinity Mortgages and I thought, I'm going to contact him and just see if he fancies a coffee. And for him, it forms part of the Mortgage Mum story. Little did I know, because I just had my son. I was actually not that well, if I'm honest, looking back, but I was just grasping for things and I just knew I needed to change something. So I, like most people, looked at all the external stuff first rather than the internal. Change my job, change this. A lot of people do that when you're not feeling good. You think, it must be my relationship, it must be my job, it must be this. So I looked externally, but that was a blessing. And I met him for a coffee. I had my son and my son needed feeding. I was breastfeeding him and I was like, no, not now. So I had this cape, was feeding him, and internally I was thinking, oh my God, this guy is never going to hire me. I'm sitting here with a notepad, a smoothie, and my son is under this cape and he's trying to just act like it's okay. And he did really well, bless him. But he said in that moment, he thought, I don't care what this girl says, like she's hired, because if she can multitask like this and turn up and try and get herself a business opportunity, I'm in. And he now quotes that in all our Mortgage Mum courses and any kind of interview as the moment that he felt, was where he thought, Mortgage Mum is a thing. And actually mums don't have to be ignored. They have like superpowers. So, so I joined Affinity and I made it really clear from day one and said, look, I've got my kids, I'm going to be working from home, but I'm a good broker, I've got a good reputation. I want to take things online. I want to talk online. I want to do things a bit different. And he was just really open, like, yeah, I'm up for it. Whatever you want to do, I'm interested in finding out more. So that kind of gave me free rein. And that's when I started going live. You were already doing it by then, because that's when we, I think, discovered each other. But to my mind, I wasn't copying anybody. I just felt like, well, loads of people are going live about all sorts of things at the moment. They go live about law of attraction, they go live about anything, but probably people need to know about mortgages, and they don't really see women talk about this stuff. And also I'm really normal and I'll explain it in a way that's super normal. So I just started doing it and it just picked up traction, and people on the school run started going, hey, you're the Mortgage Mum, I watch your videos every week. And I thought, oh, how ironic. Like, I wanted to be famous for singing. I'm famous for blooming mortgages. Like, this is ironic. But it was good because I thought I needed to hand out loads of business cards. I didn't. I just needed to get online. And people then naturally, learned who I was. So the Mortgage Mum was kind of I never thought it'd be a company, ever. It was just a nickname that I got on the school run. And then I thought, is that a brand? I don't know. Should I call myself that on Instagram? It's quite a good Instagram handle rather than Sarah Tucker. And so I did, but I was really cringy about it at first. Like when someone first saw it, they were like, are you the mortgage mum on Instagram? I was like, no, yes, maybe. What do you think? Is it so cheesy? And they were like, no, it's pretty good. I think it's good. So now I'm proud of the name, but then I sort of hid a little bit like, oh, this is a bit uncomfortable. So yeah, I don't know if I'm really making much sense, to be honest, Gary. Like I feel like there's so much stuff that's happened to get to this point. I don't even know if I'm doing it all justice.
Yeah, no, you are without a shadow of a doubt. It's really, really interesting in relation to, the journey that you've been embarking upon. And I think the message that is massively important for people who are tuning into this is the fact that, the can-do attitude, the mindset that irrespective of what's going on, if you've got a big enough goal or you want to do something, you're your only limitation to actually going and making it happen. And actually sometimes something like I always talk about in like a client that we've got who's a property investor and used to do fitness modeling. Okay. So he'd stand on stage in his Speedos, body out and all that kind of jazz. And I always talk about him to social media events because he was really afraid to show that stuff. Right. And actually, when he showed those videos, I was like, why are you not putting it up there? I was like, I'm in my fitness and I know the dedication, the commitment, the consistency, the sacrifice, the hardship. You're not going out with your friends, your meals, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, he got 250 grand's worth of investment from somebody who had followed him on social media for ages. And he said, I'm in my fitness and I know the dedication and commitment that it takes. And invested in him because of that moment. And that's the same for you. Wow. Actually, the people listening, what's going on externally, Sarah's feeding a baby, sitting there having, a smoothie with someone who she's not seen for ages and throwing herself outside of the comfort zone. And you've massively paid dividends as a result of that.
Yeah.
And you built a brand off of the back of that defining moment is really the thing. So I think that's massively commendable.
Thank you. That's really nice. And I think sometimes I'm all for making a plan, but sometimes authenticity is what shines through. If you're just genuinely doing something for genuine reason, not necessarily because on paper it's profit making or because the grand plan is, I'm all for a plan now as a businesswoman, but sometimes the best businesses start from a genuine place and a genuine need within you that translates into a business idea. And I'd never set out to have my own business and I never set out to make a mark in the mortgage industry. That was the solution to my own needs. And then naturally, that's become, obviously, I usually say if you have a need, then there's probably like 100 other people that feel exactly the same as you.
Yeah, without a doubt. Most definitely. That is certainly for sure. It's just about taking massive, messy action is the thing that I like to think about. It's like you're better off taking some action than doing nothing. And if it's messy, you can always tidy it up a little bit later as you go on. So I think that's a great way to start. Without a doubt, you've done so amazingly well to make that work from what could have been a tough start where so many others wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you must be somebody who likes spinning a lot of plates though. And I know lots of mums do, I don't know how often mums do it in the sense of juggling so much, the organization, the dropping the kids off, the getting the school dinners ready, the sorting the washing out and all of those kind of things. It's like massive multitasking to then be on The Voice, to then be doing mortgages. You mentioned in your own thing, the burnout side of things. And I think it's something that will really resonate with the mums who do listen to this. How did you handle that? And how did you kind of, especially with the, going through the postnatal depression with your boy and things like that, how did you kind of pull yourself out of that spiral to then get back into and make business the priority to a degree?
Yeah, it's a good question. I did step away for a couple of months, which was one of the hardest things, is letting go, because sometimes you have to let go of something and it's not about giving up. It's to make room for something else. And I had to let go for a little while of being super fit because I lost my body obviously to pregnancy, and I wouldn't let it go. I was pulling up with a big old bump, and whilst at the time I thought it was super impressive and look what I'm doing, and I was posting on social media and sharing the whole thing. Now I don't see it quite like that. I think social media is brilliant, but it can do a lot of harm. When I didn't know I was not okay, because I was projecting on my social media that was great, and not only great, like doing these achieving things, and then you become even further apart from people, because then even friends and family judge you from your social media, and actually that is, that's a face that everybody puts on that doesn't even realize. So I had to strip back, I had to let go, and I just was very open. So for me, I got therapy. I found Reiki, I found crystals, I found all of the woo stuff, as I call it now, that I wouldn't be without now. But I was just so open. I went to women's circles, and basically everything I probably turned my nose up at, I was like, I don't even care. If it's going to make me feel better and feel understood and heard, I don't care who it is or what I'm doing. I just need to feel better. And so I sat in these women's circles with strangers, absolute strangers I've never met before, feeling nervous, feeling like, oh my God, what are they going to think about me? How am I going to join in? I don't know whether to do it. But with the women's circles, you kind of talk openly. Nobody says anything. And you know what? There's so much power in that. Speaking out loud your stuff. No judgment, no solution. Sometimes we just need to vent, and then within our venting we'll find the answer. But people don't let you vent. They're so quick to just come back and give you a solution. Oh yeah, I've had that. Tell you their story. We all do it. I do it. But sometimes you just need to let someone talk, and I just needed to talk and cry and let it all out without feeling bad. And that's how I learned the power of women. And I know this sounds super cheesy, but there's so many quotes out there about women in circle, and it takes a village to raise a child. And we've lost that a little bit in modern times. And I've always, if I'm honest, experienced bitchiness around groups of women, like at school. And I was a victim to a lot of bitchiness, and just horrible. Girls can be really mean. Like, mean girls is a real thing. They'd talk to me about their friend. What do you think about this? And I go, yeah, I think that too. And then they'd go and run over and, oh, guess what Sarah said about you? That's how I learned about, wow, oh my gosh, you can't trust people. But here I was in this circle with women, and I thought, no, that's just how we've been raised. Like, that's how we think we have to be. But look at this. Look at how amazing it is when you're just held by a group of people. Men too, but the mortgage mum, I think, was birthed as well then, because I felt like, wow, if you could bring a group of women together who genuinely will support each other, and who will get called out if they fall into that trap that we all fall into when we're insecure, of talking about other people. Like, if I could create that space within an industry, how amazing. What could they achieve? What could they do? So it's all of those things. And I really believe in your path, anybody, you have challenging times, and you have things that you think are going to break you. And when you're in the middle of it, you just think, like, I don't know what to, this is so hard. And I say to people now, like, life isn't meant to be easy. It's a school. Yeah, you are here to learn. And I've learned the most in those times. And I wouldn't be here now if all of the turns hadn't happened, not just the voice and all the glory days, the hard days, the days where I was struggling. And the song I sang on The Voice, the reason it got me 4 turns, I believe, is because I was singing about my own experience in my blood. I heard that on the radio, and I thought, who is this? And how does he know how I feel? How does he know my walls are closing in on me? How does he know I'm on my knees in my bathroom, like scrolling through my phone just to give me a fix? Like, who is this kid? Like, how does he even know how I feel? And then I thought, I've got to sing this song one day, because he's got inside my soul. And so I turned it into something. And I think people resonate because they can hear and feel what I went through, and without knowing why. So they get goosebumps. They say, oh, it gives me goosebumps every time. And I think that's because you're hearing my soul speak. Like, you're not just
Mm.
hearing a song. That's what music does. Like, it lights you up. It can make you feel stuff, because people putting their souls out there, you know, for people. I mean, I'm getting really deep now for a financial pro podcast, but you know, it's all linked. Business is all linked to this stuff.
100%. Business, fitness, family life, the whole thing. You have to make it all work in congruence with each other. Otherwise, you just feel push, pull, and challenge all over the place. So I think it's a powerful message for, you know, the mums out there, and also a reminder to all the gents as well that, you know, there's a deeper side to, you know, what's just going on, more than just mums, more than just, you know, the what we see and what we expect as the other halves. There's actually lots more to that as well, from a point of view of your own career, your own business,
your
and actually
identity,
driving that forward, your own identity as well. Yeah, great summary. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, super, super powerful. So the birth of the mortgage mum then happened after breastfeeding in front of Jamie. Good old Jamie.
Yeah. Well,
I couldn't believe it just on that moment. I'm stepping outside your comfort zone and doing that.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned social media, and the two things, the niche from a marketing perspective of attracting mums for you to be their broker. Yeah. But then also the additional marketing niche of mums who want to start a new career.
Yes.
And try and do something different and build their own identity once again.
Yeah.
So, you know, talk to us a little bit about that in terms of how that marketing started and how it's transformed since you decided social media is the thing for me.
Yes. One of my old lives came up yesterday on my time hop, and I was like,
oh my
gosh, how did I even let that go out? But I believe you have to start somewhere. Rob Moore always says every winner was once a beginner, and I bloody love that phrase. And
every master was once a disaster is the other one.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it most days since I heard it. But I think social media is your shop window, and you can reach thousands upon thousands and thousands of people if you're willing to show up. And you're going to get judged. That's a hard reality. You're going to get all of that. Brené Brown is a favorite of mine, and she talks about daring greatly. And I was reading that book at the time of The Voice, and she says about people that go into the arena are the brave ones, and they're the only people you should compare yourself to or care about their opinion, because they're the only ones doing it. It's so easy for everyone on the sides to criticize, to troll, to judge. They're not doing it. So don't even listen to their opinions. That's easier said than done, I know. But I think with social media, I quickly realized it was powerful. And then when I set the Mortgage Mum up, you know, I just had a Facebook group, and I just started talking in there. Oh, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And if you think you'd like to be a mortgage broker, and if you want to come on my course in London, I'm going to be talking about it. And I didn't know whether anyone would sign up to the course. So when it sold out, and there was only 10 spaces, I was over the moon. And then I thought, oh God, I'd just love to get one. Just one mortgage mum would be lovely. So I think initially I just, you're just so happy to have somebody validate you, validate your brand, validate your company by joining it and trusting you with their career. But certainly for social media, I mean, I try and teach this to the girls, and they're big fans of you and the team, Gary, of the work that you do. And I think we need more education on that out there. It's great. Like, it's always changing. Just as I get my head around it, you know, Clubhouse comes along and I'm like, oh no, I've got to learn a new place. And that's the nature of marketing. It's it's like its own beast, isn't it? Social media. So you join it or you're not in that world, and that is the world you need to be in. That's where we're all scrolling. That's your shop window. It's as good as walking down the shopping high street. That's what scrolling is. So make sure you've got a shop window there so that people can see you and pop into your page and maybe follow you, or, you know, maybe see what you're up to. So I think it's really powerful, and you just have to manage it. You just have to manage it, because it can take over.
That's great, because the question I was thinking about next is, how do you manage all the different channels?
Oh, yeah.
How do you deal with that?
The different social media channels?
Yeah, well, you've got Facebook, you've got your page, you've got your profile. You mentioned a group there. You've got LinkedIn. You're always
Yeah.
pinging on Instagram. Then
Yeah.
you have got Clubhouse. How do you manage your scheduling, posting, lives, and content production across all of those channels?
I have a wonderful lady called Camilla Bevington. She came from Hello Magazine, and she is a mum too that's got 2 children, and she's working from home and building her career around her life. So I instantly was attracted to her right at the beginning, and a bit like Jack is for you. She's been with me since I was an O1 and, helped me. So she schedules all my posts. I'm a big believer in, like you, in outsourcing. I love creating content, but it is a job in itself. So we work together on the bits that go out, and she manages scheduling them across all of the social media platforms. I like to do a live, but I certainly want to do more of those. And the podcast has been a recent addition to the kind of social media. It's a part of social media, sort of. But I think I try to focus on one at a time. So at the moment, my focus is heavily on LinkedIn. My personal focus. So I have full control over that. There's only me posting there. And perhaps sometimes I'll do that on Instagram, or I don't tend to touch Instagram because her images are just always so spot on for the brand. But maybe Facebook, I'll just try and show up myself on one platform every day. But I don't think I've quite got it right yet, if I'm honest. I think my problem is I like to tick things off a to-do list. And my problem is there's always more. You can always be doing more on social. You could always be going live every day or twice a day or replying to comments. It's a never-ending list. So I think the biggest challenge I've found is knowing when to turn it on and when to let it run without you needing to manage it. Because it's probably a 2-person job. 3-person job, like a whole team. So I don't think I've quite got it right, but it's working at the moment. We get regular content out there, and and people follow and they like what we're doing. I would like to do more, basically, but I'm always going to be like that.
Yeah, you get to a point. My goal now, actually, having been using social media, and I haven't really spoken about this much on the podcast or really anywhere, is the realization for me with the algorithms changing so much as we're at April 2021. Social media was so much easier back in 2016, and it was even easier in 2020. 2021, it's changed again, and the reach now across channels is not as good as it used to be. LinkedIn and TikTok's where it's currently at. Instagram Reels is where it's currently at. But I think that for me, like Facebook Lives now, I'm getting a 10% of the reach I used to get last year, and it's mental. And actually, if I can,
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Say again.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. It's 10%. Facebook and Instagram just aren't playing ball as much as they used to because they're a pay-to-play platform now. So the key for me is the whole automation side of things and how we can actually get it to, like you say, spend 15 minutes a day creating content, have people who repurpose that for us. And then, you do your podcast, you do your video, you have your blog going because they're the evergreen 3.
Yeah.
And just leverage your time by utilizing ads, by putting automation in place and getting as much as you can done on autopilot to really build that brand thereafter.
And I will say as well, as much as stats are great, I think sometimes reach is immeasurable. You can't, it's like impact. How do you measure the impact you're having on the world? You can't. Like, one person could hear something of mine, not like the video. I've got no idea that they've even looked at it, listened to it, but they might like have me in their locker for as soon as they want to do a mortgage. And I just don't know. So I have learned that it's also about continuing to do it, even when your validation isn't showing up for you. Still do it because people are still listening, and or they might not like it, but they're still seeing you. They're still seeing it. So and I do it. I follow people, and I don't necessarily engage, but they've made an impact on me. I might have read a quote and thought, oh, I love that. That's really changed my day. So yeah, I think the key is, yes, definitely measure your stats and everything because that's important, but don't stop if it doesn't look like it's working because you can't tell. You can't always tell.
And at the end of the day, if you're spending, 5 minutes a day doing one video a day, or you're doing one post a day and it's taking you 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, whether you're getting 10 people or 100 people viewing your stuff, that could be a different 10 people every day, could be a different 100 people every day.
That's very true.
You only need, a few deals off of the back of that will effectively pay for the time that you've invested. So I love that. That's really, really cool. So moving on to, your marketing's been fantastic, and I love the branding that you have across the whole of the Mortgage Mum range as well. The variety of all the women, you're all sharing the same. There's no rogue agents in the team trying to, not that I see.
Not that you can see.
Anyway.
No, that's good. Yeah, we do. The marketing is really important to us.
Yeah.
That we keep that brand consistency. So I'm pleased that you've noticed that.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And I don't know if you know this, but on Canva, you can actually share templates as well with each other if you're using Canva.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I think one of the girls definitely has shared the template. But they all kind of make it their own, I noticed, sort of, which is important as well, because they have to create their own personal touch within the Mortgage Mum. I don't want to remove their identity.
No, exactly.
So,
So that's the key thing then, is you started this 2019, right? Was when you first sat down with Jamie.
Yeah.
And then now you have gone to 20 plus Mortgage Mums in the space of 2 years.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's actually September 2019 is when we took our first Mortgage Mum on. So it's actually, it's coming up to 2 years in September. Yeah. And that, I mean, the voice was as I say, it was all to do around the voice, is why it got set up. And the voice battle was when Jamie said to me, "What do you think you're going to do?" Because he knew I'd got 4 turns at that point, and that was just incredible. And I said to him, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to let the mortgages go. Like, I'm just going to do singing instead. But maybe I could be an introducer, or maybe we could take some women on and I could give them my business and train them at a distance." And he was like, "What was this idea?" And I thought, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to tell him." So I told him, and he was just as he was before, very open, like, "Oh yeah, well look, I think women make great brokers, and you certainly make it work, and you certainly make it look easy to manage it all. So yeah, you know what? If you win the battle, then we know you're on TV 3 times. You're going to have a platform. Let's use it. Let's set up a company." And I did not know what that meant. I remember thinking, "Oh, that sounds really good," but I don't have a clue what that means. And when he sent me through the Company's House thing, like, now I know anyone can set up a company on Company's House, just in case you don't know. And I didn't. So when he sent me the certificate, I was like, this is a big deal. I forwarded it on my family WhatsApp chat. Like, "Look, guys, look, I'm a company.
It's a milestone, mate. It's a milestone. Yeah.
And it felt like really exciting. And then sadly, the voice didn't end up how I wanted it to. And I've still been, I'm still nurturing that disappointment 2 years later, but I am starting to see now and understand, that everything has its reason. And unfortunately, like, sometimes things don't work out how you think that you want them to. But as Alex Curtis said to me the other day, sometimes what you need isn't what you want. And it's important to trust in the bigger picture. And the Mortgage Mum needed me to run it. And I had this naive view that it wouldn't. You just need my face. Just use my face and I'll sing. And then you can just create a company with my face. No, that is not what was going to happen. It needed me to be in it because I'm the one that was doing it. I'm the one that had the seed. And it's taken me 2 years to really turn the seed into an actual living, breathing company. But my gosh, it's hard. Like, people don't talk about this enough. I think we need to be real. It's really hard owning your own business, isn't it? Growing a company from the ground up. People see the glass, they see the top of the mountain. They hear that it took 10 years, 8 years. It means nothing. Every single hour of every single day of those 8 years, if it takes you that long to succeed, like, that's amazing. I have such a new respect for business owners. I just think they're incredible, every single one of them, because it's not easy to put yourself out there, to take a risk, to let go of the outcome and just keep trying and trying and trying. So, I have massive respect for business owners. And we've been very lucky to have so many women want to join, so many more women want to join too. But training somebody up to be a mortgage broker, as you know, Gary, is not an easy task. We're doing it at distance. We're doing it en masse. and we're doing it around people's families. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible. That combination, along with COVID and a locked down country, is a tough combination. It's been really a lot harder than we thought. But these women are incredible. They're resilient, they're driven, they're ambitious. They are business women too, so they are in it for the ride. And when I think what we've all been through in the last year, I mean, we took on people September 2019, then we took on another load in January 2020, another load in March 2020, and then the whole country went into lockdown. And I had 15 women on a Zoom call crying because their kids were coming home and they'd just started a career, left their jobs or whatever their circumstances were, they'd taken a punt, and then the mortgage industry shut down, remortgages only. We were joining a network. They had their kids. None of us had space. We were all scared, absolutely so fearful of this thing. I was terrified about coronavirus when it first came out. And, we can say the word now and it's not as emotive, but then it was like this horrible thing. And to hold people through that, whilst also trying to learn how to be a business owner and a leader, and trying to market a new brand, and trying to join a network, and trying to keep everything going. It was like, I don't even know how we all did it when I look back. But that whole women's circle thing I spoke about a little while ago, I brought that into the company, and we met up every week and I let people just talk. And we were busy, even though we only had remortgages, we were joining a network and we were training people up. So we kind of used the time to do that, and with all the kids in the background. But it was a tough year. So I say to them, like, it's not been normal for them yet. So I can't wait for them to have like normal life doing this, because if they're doing what they're doing now after what we've all been through, it's quite traumatic for some people. I can't wait to see what their futures look like. So it's exciting, but it has been a graft few years, like a hard few years, I'm not going to lie. But we're here
going
and
in the right direction.
Yeah, and we're all feeling great. So it's exciting to see what's ahead.
Most definitely. And how have you managed, for people who are sitting out there going, how the hell have you got 20 brokers in the space of, realistically 12 months? How's that even taken place? I presume it's the branding and the niche that's brought them to you.
Yeah, I think the study group that we have, so we have study options for people that are discounted if they go they use our code. So we support them from their seed of an idea. So they come into that group going, I'm a mum, I've got these kids, I want a career that I enjoy, I want this, I want that. And they want to change their life. And so we nurture them from that point, and then we celebrate their wins with them from there. So they're invested before they've even become qualified, a lot of them. But then I think separate to that, we've done obviously courses in what it looks like to be a mortgage broker, really looks like, behind the scenes look. And then I think social media, I think the industry's really supported us, because I think because of the voice as well, that was really just great timing. But the articles like Mortgage Strategy have been a huge supporter. They did an article when I was on The Voice, and then I told them about the mortgage mum and said, look, I'd love for you to feature this. I think this would be wonderful to kind of tell people what we're trying to do. And they put us on the front cover, and that was on month 2. So to get exposure like that in the industry takes years. So that's where The Voice really has helped. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, it would have happened anyway. I used it to my advantage. People wanted to hear what I had to say for a short period of time. So in that short period of time, I maximised it. That doesn't mean you have to go on The Voice to be heard, but everyone has a different opportunity, whether that's your niche or you're good at automation. Like, I think you've just got to hone into whatever the opportunities are that you've got. I don't know how I've got this many. Again, I think I don't, because again, like I said at the beginning, it's just been an authentic thing. I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a business plan mapped out. I did loosely think, I'd love to get 20 each year. But I went out and just spoke about it, continued to speak about it. And then people tell people who tell people who tell people. And I think the happy mortgage mums, obviously their friends and family then start to go, oh, they're doing this really cool thing. I mean, you look at Body Shop and Arbonne and all these things, like, they go crazy. So women talk. If something's good, We tell all our friends, you got to read this book, you got to watch this program, you got to do this job. So if you treat them well, they are like one of the best marketers you have, because we all talk all the time. We love talking and sharing. So yeah, I guess that's what's happened. I also think it demonstrates there's a huge genuine need for women to have a career, and also for women to get into this industry. And
100%.
I think that's a big gap. It must be, because why else would they all be here?
I think it's a huge gap. And I love the fact of, you know, giving mums a new identity after they've had their children or whatever stage of motherhood they're at. But I'm a massive, massive fan of bringing more ladies into the industry. Because I think it is still a male dominated industry, and it shouldn't be. It's like, it's slowly changing. And that's my ethos. That's what this whole thing is all about, is trying to bring this financial services industry into 2021. You know, the age demographic is slowly getting younger. More of us are slowly using social media and producing content and educating consumers. You know, now it's about the digital and the automation, which is a lot of what I'm teaching, but it's also, you know, let's not only change the demographic in terms of age, but let's change it in terms of sex as well. The ability in this job now to multitask, to manage administration, to know what's going on with each and every single client, you know, ladies are far better than that than us gents anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're quite good at the emotional stuff. I mean, there's a place for men protection in this as well. But I think, you know, and I'm not. This is not a women versus men thing. This is not the conversation that the Mortgage Mum is about. It's about us standing next to you, not replacing you, and that's key, really. I don't know why not enough women are here. I don't know why that's happened. What I do know is women make incredible brokers, because we're in it. Like, we are so emotionally invested in our clients. We want to know everything, because that makes us be able to give you so much value. And it's about more than just money. You know, this is their homes, their kids. We totally understand. And when you're a woman, you fall in love with a house. You're like, I want it now. And I want it interior decorated. And I want it to be exactly how I want it for the kids and for me. And this is how I'm going to have my kitchen. And you run those homes generally. I'm generally speaking, because of course there are some women that aren't in that mold, but generally we're speaking to the people who are so passionate like we are, and just excited, and they just need somebody that gets it, and it's going to be quick. Give me the information, be organized, please don't make me chase you. You know, that's how you get just so stressed when you're in love with a house. You just think, please just everybody do what you need to do so I can get in there. And we get that. We get single parents, you know, we're on the phone to women who have split up from their husbands, and they're dealing with their kids being shared, and that's emotional. Like them talking about a mortgage on their own, that's hard. Like they don't necessarily choose it. Maybe they did, but either way, we hold them and we get it. We're like, this is just so much more than just money. And so I think that is the dynamic we can bring, is making it okay for a woman to pick up the phone. It doesn't have to be, you know, a suited conversation in a bank. You can just have a coffee and tell us what's going on, and we'll make it easy for you. But also understanding that, you know, if people are stressed and need information quickly, we know why. We understand it's not, there's more going on. And if you can give people that level of service, again, they're going to tell people, and they're going to be screaming your name as to how happy they are. So that's what I try and breathe into the team, is give as much value as you can. Make your mark on those people, because you are playing a life-changing role for them. This is their homes, their money. And all of that is like at the core of everything that they do. So yeah, I do take our role really seriously. I always have done. And that's why our recruitment process, it isn't an easy, not everyone can make it. And that's the sad thing. You know, we've got hundreds of women studying, hundreds of women that want it. It's like the music industry, you know, you can't, not everyone's got what it takes. And good for you for trying, but we will make sure we let you know if we can see that this isn't going to work. Then, you know, it's like anything, it's not easy. That's the key thing here. But if you want it and you're good at it, then it can be amazing. You can have an amazing career, great money, great life, doing something you love around your family, and you really can.
Yeah.
But you got to want it. You got to want it.
Yeah, I love that without a shadow of a doubt. And as I say, it isn't like you said, it's not to bash men or anything else. Gents, you
No.
are fantastic brokers. You know, half of my team are male and half of my team are female. It's just we all relate with each other on different levels, and I think it's a great niche. You know, women want to work with other women. I think the divorce element that you said there is, you know, ladies will resonate more sometimes with that, and it's just bringing something different to the industry and bringing more women into the industry, which I think is super powerful. So
I
well done,
champion
Sarah.
anything that's a bit unique. Like, it doesn't just have to be us.
Definitely.
I love seeing brokers like yourself doing things that are like different and like exciting. And I think, and there's more and more coming, you know, there's more and more people coming up that I think, wow, I love what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think it's about us all championing each other as well. Like, you bringing me on here is a powerful move, because we're taught to elbow each other out of the way and climb over each other. But there's enough room for all of us. And I've learned so much from you over the years, and hopefully another broker has learned so much from me. And it's a big circle, you know, and it's a great industry. So yeah, I'm glad that you had me on today for that reason. It's all about kind of putting our arms around each other.
All about collaboration. That's, for me, it's there's, you know, and that's what I didn't like. You know, Financial Pro, Mortgage Pro all stemmed off of the back of me going to a London old school boys event, and I turned up in a polo shirt and jeans, and all these snotty-nosed mortgage brokers and financial planners looked down on me, and I was like, sod that, I'm starting a Facebook group, because that's where I hang out.
Yeah,
and you
and
find
look at it now.
Quote unquote people, so to speak, and you know, that community is now 2,000 and a beast of its own that I can't control or anything at all. Just let it do its thing.
But it's true. Why do you have to wear a suit to be smart?
Exactly.
Like, why can't you share fitness to show that you're a well-rounded individual? You know, why does it all have to be talk about business in a suit and not let any emotion through? So it's good. It's all good.
So it's been a great chat with you today, Sarah. I'm glad you came on, and
thank you.
Sarah I had the pleasure of going on Sarah's podcast, which is the Mortgage Mum podcast, a couple of weeks ago. So make sure you go over and check me out on there, and then check out her other episodes on there as well, because we had a good discussion the other way. And it is all about championing each other and supporting each other. You know, my niche is self-employed. There's going to be self-employed ladies out there, but it doesn't mean that we're competing against each other, because there's a ridiculous amount of houses that are bought and remortgaged every single month. We can all grow together. That's my kind of attitude, and
definitely,
and that's what it's all about. Do it the easy way, not the hard way, by sharing and collaborating and working together to achieve a bigger, greater goal, which is at the end of the day, supporting our clients, making our lives better, building a business for our team so our team can benefit. And all of that has an indirect impact on coming back to us as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Love it.
Yeah. So thank you, Sarah. It's been an absolute pleasure. I always end the podcast with one question. Which is, that means you haven't listened to the podcast, which means
I do listen to the podcast, but I didn't know you always ask the same. When you say it, I'm probably going to recognise it. I do listen, I promise.
It is the Financial Pro podcast. What does pro mean to you?
Oh, yeah, no, I do know that you asked, but I haven't prepared for it. What does pro mean to me? So pro means, I would have said in the past what I just said a minute ago about being professional. And what does that mean? I think pro is owning who you are, being the pro of yourself, so that you can show up, and then you can just tag that onto anything and be the pro of whatever you put your hand to. So I think that's what it is. I'm probably going to come up with a much better answer as soon as I hang up on this call. But what do other people?
I love that one. The pro
I'm going
of
to listen
yourself.
to the end of every episode.
Because it's one we haven't heard before.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. Unique.
So,
but I think being professional doesn't have a description based on what we just said. Polo shirt, woman, man, in your joggers, not in your joggers. Who cares? Just show up. Yeah. Just be smart and share your own knowledge, and then you can add the word pro to anything you want.
Yeah, and that's why I had that question, because like success, like beauty, it's in the eye of the beholder. So pro's exactly the same. And I love your definition of it. And it is one we haven't heard before. So thank you, Sarah, for giving us your time. Where is the best place for people to go and find you? You mentioned you're hanging out quite a lot on LinkedIn at the moment, but the podcast is The Mortgage Mum on all major channels. Please go and check that out. Where else would you like to send people?
I mean, I'm always active on all the channels, and I reply to every single message, even if it takes me a little while. So any of the channels, but Instagram, LinkedIn, probably more Instagram actually than LinkedIn, because you get a lot of messages on LinkedIn that are robots and stuff, don't you? But yeah, the podcast, my email, I'm always happy for people to email. But yeah, just there's loads of ways of finding me and getting in touch. So if you do feel the need to, then I'm more than happy to get back in touch with you.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. And if you do want to hear Sarah go and sing, then just make sure you go and follow her on her stories, because every now and then I wake up in the morning and there's Sarah in front of me singing away to something.
Occasionally, I just put the microphone in front of me and just bang out a tune. But yeah.
Awesome. Lovely, Sarah. Thank you very much indeed for having you.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you for having me.
See you all soon, ladies and gents, on the next episode of the Financial Pro Podcast.